Thank you for staying with us. In our very first story, the Union of Industry, Commerce and Finance Workers, UNICOF, is calling on government to compel the managing director of the Agricultural Development Bank to proceed on leave. This, the union says, will pave the way for investigations into corruption allegations at the bank. Addressing a news conference in Accra, the General Secretary of UNICOF, John Isiape, demanded a forensic audit into the accounts of the bank.
We have qualified for a loan. These are issues not for press conferences. Experts will have to sit and identify and come out with a report. If it is true that the company owed some of the bank, was it even not possible to share the risk with those banks rather than taking on board the debt and even adding more to the debt? But it will also be interesting to note or to find out how that account has performed. Some of the semantics that we are hearing has occurred may qualify for criminality, and perhaps the police who were sent after us last Thursday should have been heading the opposite direction. Did KPMG commission a report and advised that the account will not be able to make repayment for the next 20 years? We need to know, because periodically such pieces of advice are given. When did management take them to court for recoveries? It's the first time we've heard this. Why is the Ring Road property, formerly Western Union Building, left to rot? Is it deliberate to run it down and sell it cheap? ADB had some property in some of the posh areas throughout the country. Almost all of them are gone. Is it not a preparation to pack out, cover things, and move to the next stage? Why is it now being portrayed that we are not in favor of IPO? We are, but it is how it's being done. Indeed, some of the signals we have picked is that some have already been identified and they will pick the chunk of it. You and I, we are not there when those discussions are held. The little we wanted to know, we have also been denied. The only way to be heard is to embark on a struggle, and that struggle will come to its logical conclusion. Inshallah. But for now, he's so tainted because of these actions. So he should just step aside. We believe that one issue also is that he must be given a fair hearing. The rot that we have presented, I mean, if I were in those positions, I would have bowed out. They have presided over this, and so they should not be given the opportunity to move to the next phase. And if they presided over the rot with all the governance issues being circumvented and so on, then what guarantees do we have that the IPO process will not be tainted similarly? So we think that there must be.
Former Chief Executive Officer of the Volta River Authority, Dr. Charles Rekumbobe, has warned of the need to protect the Akosombo Dam to save it from a complete breakdown. His comments follow reports that the water level in the dam has dropped to the minimum safe operating level. Now, figures on the VRA's website indicates that the water level is less than 1 foot above safe operating level of 240 feet. Now, speaking on the Super Morning Show on Joy FM, Dr. Rekumbobe said an urgent decision needs to be taken on whether or not to continue operating the dam.
The dam is running 4 out of 6 units now. It's producing about half the power it normally produces. It's gotten into the minimum desirable recommended operating point. In 2006-07, it went below that and produced more power, but that's not advised. You know, you don't try to do that. But until the start of August, and we determine or we know if rains are coming into the lake or not, there is, of course, a problem that more caution must be exercised. Because there's no doubt that with some of these plants coming on, we will need to slow down production for the dam even further, so that we don't put that dam into danger. Because, in fact, if that dam has to be shut down, we'll probably go to 6 hours, 36 hours off So that is the other. Well, there is yesterday, I was told he reached 240 yesterday, which was what it was predicted, which is the lowest recommended. You know, there's a lowest recommended and what is desirable and what is good to do. I know that, in fact, the last time in 2007, it went way past it. But a review afterwards said that this should never be repeated. So yes, technically we can keep going, but it's at great danger to the dam. And I'm hoping that what would be done would be to slow down the dam to what it can really take until August, and then maybe some of the plants which are coming in may take up some of the generation. But of course, what it means is that the 12-24 may not go, or you can't really expect it to go quickly. Indeed. But I'm just saying that all I'm here to say is that car power is not the solution. The solution are with a rehabilitated thermal plant, a dam that is able to resurrect, and dealing with the immediate cash flow problems of operation.
Chairman of the Senior Staff Union of the Tema Oil Refinery, TOR, has blamed government's failure to revamp the refinery for the raging disputes between the bulk oil storage company and the bulk distribution companies. Daniel Fuga says the inability of the Tema Oil Refinery to sustain its operations is largely attributable to the alleged fuel corruption being probed. Mr. Fuga was speaking to Joy News' Latif Idris.
Tema Oil Refinery is the engine of growth of Ghana, the energy sector. If we take the petroleum sector and you take the Tema Oil Refinery out, then we are collapsing the petroleum sector. So I want to send a message to the president that he should put his eyes on the ball. That is, looking into what is happening in Tema Oil Refinery for us to fix the problems there. TOR has some challenges of finances to fix the plant. Currently, we need some monies to fix our plant. Over the past 6 years now, we have not done our normal turnaround maintenance, and we need money. Government of Ghana is the sole shareholder of Tema Oil Refinery, and we believe that putting in some money to do some of those things will make TOR active. So for us, we want some proactiveness from government in terms of what happens to Tema Oil Refinery. We were promised some money some 4 years back. We were only giving part. As we speak, we are expecting the rest for us to go through those process of doing the maintenance and all that. We keep hearing that the money has been released. Part of the money has been released. But as we speak, we don't know when that money has been released, and we can't know how that money has been released. So we are pleading with the president that he should come to the aid of Tema Oil Refinery for us to fix the problem. And we believe when TOR is running, the problem of the downstream, the petroleum problem that we are facing currently will be solved. TOR is viable. We are very, very profitable. So we only want the problem to be fixed there. And all these issues that we face here will be sorted out.
What would you say is contributing to the problems between BDCs and the bust?
I cannot speak to those issues for now, because the issues are now developing. And it's very interesting to hear.
Shouldn't they be working together as a team?
That is how it's supposed to be. But the BDCs don't mind you, they're in business. Okay? They are business people who set up their business. So I believe if government is interested in what is happening in the downstream sector, it should focus on TOR and bust.
Some private health facilities in Accra continue to deliver services to National Health Insurance Scheme, the NHIS cardholders, with the hope that government will make good its promise and pay part of monies owed service providers. Now, some of the administrators who spoke off record have, however, threatened to turn away NHIS cardholders if government fails to deliver on its promise by the end of the week. My colleague Latif Idris has been to some of these health facilities and now joins me in studio. So, Latif, what did you see?
Yeah, you know, the fear has been that those who run on this support from the NHIA were going to pull off their support and then services. Indeed. But going around today, it was interesting. We found out that a lot of these facilities are still delivering service to clients who come there with NHI, card. I visited, Eric Heyman Clinic, which is in Odoko, Official Town. I visited Rock Facility, which is also in Odoko, El Shaddai, Santa Maria, and all of these facilities are delivering services to their clients. Now, but they have a caveat. I spoke to one woman off record at a Brazza maternity home. She told me that for this week, they are going to deliver services to their clients. But at the end of the week, if they don't see any improvement, because government has issued a statement that they're going to pay part of these monies. Now, her hope is on this one that government has put out there. If government doesn't deliver by the end of the week, she's also going to pull out, services. So they are working for this week. They are delivering services, all right. But then, if at the end of the week they don't see any change, then they are going to pull off their services. I spoke to some administrators of the various, facilities that I visited. We can listen to some of them and listen to what they have to say.
Okay. National Health Insurance. For now, we are taking NHIS card, even though they are owing us 8 months now. Actually, we had our last paid from them that was August. We had August in March. So we are still taking it, even though they are owing us.
Trials in paying of their debts to us, the facilities. It hadn't been so earlier. In events past, a maximum of the 3rd month, we get our pay. We submit our claims early, and we are supposed to be paid in the 3rd month. The authority has its regulations that you submit your claims in the 1st week of the following month. A regulation which we go by consistently. But then I think in this case, the NHIS have fallen short of its side of the bargain.
I see. So Latif Idris, I'm sure you must have spoken to patrons of these health facilities as well. Obviously, they must be a bit ecstatic, bearing in mind the fact that this warning came way ahead that, if you come here today, you're not going to get access to healthcare.
Yeah, they were relieved actually. And I spoke to a couple of them. They hope that government make do its promise. Just like the administrators, they also hope governments pay off these debts so that they can always and every day come to the facility and get the services that they need. I spoke to some of them.
I see. So again, maybe I should ask this. There was no point where anyone was asked to pay anything.
No, if we know that this NHIA doesn't cover certain drugs. Okay. So for that one, it's still in place. If you come there and you're given your prescription, and in the prescription there's a drug that's NHIA doesn't cover, that one is still in place. There's no way you're gonna get it. But for the drugs is within NHIA, that one they still deliver the services, and then the clients can access those drugs.
I see. So as things stand now, people are still getting quality
service.
Quality service
as far as the NHIA is concerned.
But it's just for the time being.
For the time being, as you are aware, some are already threatening to pull up their service.
Let's listen to some of the clients you spoke to earlier.
You come, you get the medicine, they'll write it for you to go and buy it in town. Yeah, you just come and do your cards here, and they take care of your things, and after that, you will go out and buy your medicine outside. You can't get the medicines here.
So do you do cash and carry here, or what is the service?
Okay, I normally come here with my health insurance, so I don't do cash and carry. I don't know that they do it here or not.
So I feel relief in a sense that some of the benefits of the NHI is that how even having money in your pockets, at the end of the day, you are going to be treated nicely. Though some of the drugs are not in the system, but yet still, you have a brave treatment with the NHIS without the money in your pocket. I'm okay.
I see. So Latif Idris, these are people who are now getting access to healthcare, but what is to happen at the end of the week?
Yeah, what happens at the end of the week, we all expect and we hope that government pays this 180 million Ghana cedis that it has promised, so that clients such as those who just spoke will continue to get quality service from facilities that they visit. Okay,
thank you very much, Latif Idris, for that update. Well, meanwhile, the government has directed the release of some 180 million Ghana cedis for the payment of arrears owed health insurance providers. The money is expected to clear part of the more than 460 million Ghana cedis owed National Health Insurance Scheme service providers across the country. The NHIS owes service providers arrears covering 6 to 8 months. According to a statement signed by the Deputy Minister of Health, Dr. Victor Asare-Bampo, the release formed part of ongoing efforts by the government to clear all outstanding arrears owed NHIS service providers. It said the Bank of Ghana was currently processing the transfer of funds. Now, some media houses in the Western region are threatening to boycott all government activities in the region. Now, this follows an incident on Saturday where the Western Regional Minister, Paul Evans Edu, is reported to have instructed an aide to remove journalists from an official event. Francis Waja narrated the events of the day earlier to me.
I can confirm to you now that some senior journalists in the region, like you said, are planning to boycott activities involved in the Regional Coordinating Council. And also, we are reliably informed that the National Sanitation Day exercise will be hosted by the Western region in the month of June. There are plans to also boycott the National Sanitation Day exercise until the Regional Coordinating Council, led by the Regional Minister, apologizes for that unfortunate incident. Now, the particular journalist involved tells me that he's really shocked at the situation that happened on Saturday. Another colleague from Star TV has also spoken to me as well. I mean, they are all surprised as what happened. So the latest is that until the RCC apologizes, they are going to boycott all activities by them.
I see. Well, Francis, now let's backtrack a bit. What really happened on the day?
Well, the gentleman tells me that he had gone there to cover the National Sanitation Day exercise. Now, it was in the process of that, the regional minister arrived. He got there around 9 o'clock. The regional minister got there around 9:30. Now, the regional minister, in fact, even did something well by purchasing brooms for some of the ladies who were sitting idle. Their complaint was that because there were no brooms, they were sitting idle doing nothing. And so he purchased brooms from his own pocket. And then the lady started sweeping. Then he started moving around the market circle. And then the journalist started following him. And then all of a sudden, he turned, looked at this young man and said, quote and unquote, "My friend, who are you? Are you a supervisor? I give you 5 minutes to leave or else," unquote. So the young man was shocked. And then he sought to inquire further. I mean, if probably the regional minister had forgotten him, I mean, he could explain to him that he's a media man. He's been to the RCC before, because apparently a day before, he had been to the RCC, spoken to the Deputy Regional Minister about the exercise, and he had invited him to come. So in his quest to even make further clarification or even inquire why the Regional Minister was giving such instructions, he repeated himself that I said, "Move away, else you will face my wrath." And before he could say jack, he was held by the neck, by the shirt, and literally dragged off from the scene. In fact, it was a market woman who even pleaded for him to be released.
I see. So this journalist was assaulted, and in solidarity, some other journalists are saying they are going to boycott activities of the government. Is that the case?
Absolutely, absolutely, because they are all shocked and they are disappointed at the situation.
Have you tried reaching the minister to actually find out what must have happened? Probably there was some sort of miscommunication.
Absolutely. I've tried reaching the regional minister. I've tried his line several times. He will not pick up. I sent him a message. He will not respond. I have other colleagues as well who have called him since Saturday. He hasn't responded. I have heard this morning that he has granted an interview to some media houses, but I still have not been able to reach the regional minister for his comments on the issue.
You're watching Joy News today here on Multi TV. We're taking a breather. We'll be back shortly. Thanks for staying with us. Now, an angry mob in Joppa has burnt 2 alleged notorious armed robbers to death. 2 others were seriously wounded in the attack and are currently receiving medical attention at the Joppa Hospital. Our Upper West Regional Correspondent Rafiq Salam has been following the story and spoke with me earlier.
Joppa is all calm, and then the youth are saying that they are now so good to anything, and they are waiting for the outcome of a dissect meeting, which is supposed to be held in the next few hours. I spoke to the district chief executive, Clayton Joppa, and he informed me that they will hold this dissect meeting to look at the disturbances or what transpired yesterday. And so the situation has come here at Joppa. According to the angry youth, they stated that they have told the police. They have told the police about the activities of these suspected hoodlums, And then it's not this. It's been happening for the past couple of years. Anytime these suspected hoodlums or suspected criminals are arrested, the police or at the court, they are charged and acquitted. And so they are not really happy with the way things are going on. And so because of that, he came and informed the Joppa district chief commander, who just took office last Friday, about the act that what he intends to do. And so when they informed the police about that, the police then told them that they began destroy and apprehend the people and then brought them to the police station. But unfortunately, when they met two guys who were riding and who were holding a boat, and they suspected that these people, apart from all the crimes that they had been committed, they have been stealing goods. And so they stopped them, pounced on them, one of them, but the other one 5 warning shots and ran away. And so he was the first person that they arrested, and they beat him to a pulp. So he was taken to the Joppa hospital where he died later. And then, the second incident happened when they were just going around the community looking for these, except party was looking for these people. And so they got in contact with 2 other people that they suspected to be criminals. And so they beat them again, and then they were also taken to the hospital. But the third person, the fourth person, this was a guy who they saw first and who fired those warning shots. His name is Abbas, and for them, they're saying that he's the chief or he's the chairman of the robbers or the hoodlums in the Joppa community. He was the one that they bent into ashes. The threat that was given last night, I told that they were beating the pulp. The group were still saying that they would go there deep in the night and then go and finish them in court. And so they are going to kill them. And so the authorities at the hospital had information to that, and Dr. Huda, who is the medical superintendent of the Joppa St. Joseph Hospital, they quickly arranged and transferred them to the Wa Regional Hospital. So currently, the two suspected hoodlums are now lying at the Wa Regional Hospital.
Residents of Tantum, a farming community in the eastern region, are appealing to government to fix their roads in order to facilitate safe transportation of food produce from the area to market centers.
The road, which is the only one that links the community to other neighboring towns, gets muddy anytime it rains, making it difficult for farmers to transport foodstuffs to market centers. A resident, Nana Asante, explains that they are capable of producing enough to feed many, but the roads are bad. They are, however, calling on government to fix their road.
Just not too much, not too much. But yes, send your quantity no adding. Offer taxi crown.
Ya catch the assemblyman for now, so yeah, obeying fee. It's a dying subatono. And we are driving here, so who Krumua, open Abeba, open Swa, or maybe.
The bad roads are not only the problem.
Now, how do your children get to school? I mean, how about the children in your neighborhood? Well, in Tamale, the preferred mode is to use a bicycle. Almost 4 out of 5 children in Tamale ride a bicycle to school every day. For most of them, a ride to school means a ride into a promising future. For those who don't have a bike, they walk for more than 2 hours to get to school.
Friends who don't have bike, how really do they cope? How?
Sometimes I look at them, I have pity on them, and usually sometimes they also beg with those who have the bicycle, please can you help me so that if I get here I'll also walk or something, or sometimes they can stand at the roadside begging for lift from people or stuff, and those kind of things is not pure, it's not good to see in the eye, it doesn't favor at all.
Mba Orlando Adam stays at Bywater in Tamale. His bicycle is 19 years old, a year older than him. It has been in the family all this time.
I inherited this bicycle. My senior brother used it. He has gone to the SS. Now I'm the junior one, so I inherited it from him. So I have to also use it so I can also transport myself to school. It can be close to like 19 years now.
He intends to hand it over to his younger brother after completing school.
I also have a junior siblings, so I can also give the bicycle to them. So they can also use it to go to school easy.
Although he loves riding his bike, he sometimes feels unsafe on the streets of Tamale. For many children, riding a bike has become a way of life rather than just a means of transport.
My bike is very fast and it's nice. Everyone admires my bike every day. Whenever I come to school, they say, how costly is my bike? I will tell them that it's more than 1 million, and they are saying that they may also get.
Those who don't have a bike feel left out and at a disadvantage.
If you don't get a lift, how do you get home?
I have to walk.
And how long does it take you in getting home?
It will take me 1.5 hours.
But what about those in surrounding villages?
I'm at Pasunando in the Yendi district of the northern region, and residents from here to Tamale tell me it is a punishment not to buy a bicycle for your child.
Most children say their parents prefer buying bicycles for them because it turns out to be cheaper.
Well, it's still on Joy News today, right here on Joy News Multi TV. A recap of some stories aired so far. UNICOF dismisses Imani's suggestions that workers of ADB have been harboring fears of retrenchment amid brewing controversies about the bank. Also gone by, Akosombo Dam drops to safest operating level, causing fears of a possible shutdown. Still to come, let's talk on business as economic hardships compel unemployed youth to bet for survival. Now, with the springing up of betting companies and Ghana's current economic challenges, some unemployed youth have now turned their passion for sports into money-making avenues. In the following report, Joy News Red One Karim Dini Osman reveals a number of youth have become addicted to betting and have given up on the search for formal employment.
In recent times, it has become the headquarters for the army of the unemployed. I'm talking about sports betting centers across the country. But how difficult is it engaging in this very particular trade? And does it usually pay off as it is being touted? Well, let's find out. This is not an uncommon sight in major cities across the country. Young men arguing on top of their voices for hours over sports and the results of sports competitions. These arguments have graduated to a whole new level with sports betting. Sports fans now have the opportunity to take their passion to the next level, as many have realized the debates they have for fun could actually fetch them some money.
I've won like 200 CDs, yeah, but you have eaten me a lot. I've lost. It's like when you are gambling. You have to know that it's either you lose or you win. That's the game there.
Due to the high patronage of sports betting services, betting companies like Superbet, SafariBet, MyBet.com and Premier Betting are continuously expanding their operations to meet the increasing demand. Major business centers in Accra are constantly fully packed with young patrons busily placing bets on the victory or loss of various teams on a regular basis, keeping the sports betting agents and centers very busy.
I hope this betting system has really helped some of the youth in terms of financial problem. Although there's no work in the system, and so we used to come here to play our bets to gain something for ourselves.
For me, since I've been here and I've seen someone winning 5,000 and 500,000 Ghana cedis, it tells me it's real. I can also win. Today I put a bet. The bet is in my pocket. It's old currency 59 billion. And if it happens, it has happened.
Even though sports betting accommodates all sporting disciplines, there seems to be a particular sport that is most preferred.
It's the one I called fast spring mix. I've won about 200 CDs. I used 2 CDs to play it, and one is a fast bet. That one is not a waiting bet. It's a fast bet. If you win before 12 a minute or 2 minutes, they will give you your money.
Before you head to the nearest sports betting center, here is something every greenhorn needs to know about sports betting.
There is no harm in trying. So the more you try, the more something might happen for you.
It is estimated that 3 million graduates are likely to go into gambling and gaming activities by 2017, a situation that could get worse considering the current rate of youth unemployment. Perhaps it is about time pragmatic steps were taken to prevent the country's human resource capacity from depleting as young ones turn to betting instead of acquiring skills for other profitable ventures. Redwan Karim Dini Osman, Joy News, Accra.
The High Commissioner of India to Ghana, His Excellency Jiva Sagar, has called on the Indian business community to take advantage of Ghana's growing economy and its peaceful atmosphere to invest. Speaking at an event marking the Maharashtra Day in Ghana, he urged the Indian community to support Ghana's socio-cultural development.
He believes the Indian community here in Ghana will continue to build a stronger relationship with Ghanaians to further accelerate development.
As a community, one of their main objectives is to make a contribution to the economic and social cultural development of that country and win their respect. Give that human touch, give that people-to-people contact, the dimension to the India-Ghana relationship, which is historical, which is beautiful, which has been strengthening in every aspect of it, whether it is economy, whether it is investments, trade, but without that people-to-people dimension, the relationship cannot endure. That's what is happening today.
Maharashtra Day is a state holiday in the Indian state of Maharashtra, commemorating the formation of the state from the division of Bombay. The maiden edition of the celebration took place in Accra with a rich Indian cultural display. The celebration brought together Indian families in Ghana to build and deepen their relationship. The community assured their support to help build a better Ghana.
And the relationship between Ghana and India has been established, very strongly, and this will continue with the organization of this kind of events, basically to showcase the culture of Indian community from various backgrounds, and the Indian community will continue to contribute to the economy of Ghana as well.
Ghana is a beautiful place, and we have to try to bring more investment in Ghana as compared to other neighboring African countries. Ghana is the most safest for everybody. So I can see that the message for other Indian communities: be united and try to make a better Ghana in future.
It's very, very important because we are away from our home and we want to give our children whatever is our tradition. So it's like kind of letting the children also know what we are doing back home. Since we have been here since a long time, we can speak Chui Kakra Kakra, Efra was saying, or Bhu to say.
The festival is expected to be celebrated in Ghana every year.
The Chamber of Mines is asking governments to put in place policies that will make it obligatory for mining companies to build local capacity and leverage on the activities of the mining industry for industrialization. Chief Executive Officer of the Chamber, Suleiman Okone, insists there are existing gaps in the local content framework which prevents Ghana from benefiting fully from mining.
Comments by the Chamber of Mines CEO come on the heels of a study by Stewart Redquin and the Africa Center for Economic Transformation on the economic and social contributions over the life cycle of mining in Ghana. The report says 110,000 people on average are employed directly and indirectly in the sector annually, while for every $1 a mining company profits, $1.6 accrues to the government. The report, however, says a lot more could accrue to the country if the opportunities are fully exploited.
There is quite a gap between the quality of goods that are needed and the skills that people have in order to produce that. So we have to start looking at, let's say, the not so complicated areas, which is typically the labor-intensive, light manufacturing kind of opportunities, you know, where people can actually, and that is the most important thing. It's not just the revenues of the local sourcing that stay local, but it's actually giving people the opportunity to build skills to then actually take these skills and do more.
Mining companies also say government must play its role in bridging policy gaps to make the sector impactful.
They expect a mining company to go into production of caustic soda activated carbon, but they are not positioned to do that. They don't have the competence to do that. And as a country, it is our responsibility to realize that this is value which is being lost on a yearly basis and so on and so forth. If these monies could be retained, probably our city would really have had these problems. If government has a policy, a well thought out plan to say that this is what I want, even as I give you the license, Mr. Mining Company A, and I know your life of mining will be, say, 20 or 30 years. This is what I expect by the time you finish your mine. Then the company would also say, yes, I agree with your vision, but these are the requirements.
The discussion was based on the findings of an independent study of 7 mining operations representing 71% of the large-scale gold mining sector in Ghana.
Well, that'll be it for the business segment. Up next is sports. Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday Sports on the news, kindly brought to you by Mexi Milpala. We begin on the local scene and some sad story coming through. A former player of Brekum Arsenal and Ken Faisal, Setopoku, is dead. The former defender was pronounced dead on arrival at the hospital after he was electrocuted at his grocery shop this morning in Sunyani. We've been joined on the phone line now by a member of the deceased family, Isaac Asaribuache. Isaac, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, boss.
Isaac, can you tell us what exactly happened early this morning?
Boss,
Are they important in the sea?
In fact, this year, none of them, the brother, I had to focus in case of prayer. And none of them, and electric, acting I'm a nephew.
Now, time away see and not Ubia in Yohana.
The patrol Tama is here, na I am a papa. And upon no debian of our call mamma, set a book and man of breakfast. And of Patabia, and he may papa call one or panel. With your call and not what be store, store no, boss, Ubia, you want to make a partner, sister or can. Your class, you have a 10 minutes. I'm not sure how much.
Okay.
One brother, I couldn't buy. Now we'll be the sanity. Now, what you say, was sorry, no, he brought down now buying the things there.
That was a brother of the deceased player there, Isaac Asaribuache. Very sad news coming through from Sunyani. Basically, what he was trying to say was that the player was at the shop this morning and ended up being electrocuted. Our hearts, thoughts and minds are with the deceased family at this very, very difficult time. But away from... Ace broadcaster Kwesi Che Dakwa, also known as KKD, has disclosed that he almost lost his life 2 days before the last hearing of his trial for alleged rape. According to him, he was rushed to the hospital after a nosebleed caused by high blood pressure. KKD made the revelation in an exclusive chat with Joy News Gladys Oseredu after a Thanksgiving service here in Accra. He organized the service to thank God for the end of the trial following the refusal of the alleged rape victim to testify in court.
We have KKD who will grant us brief talking, and when we're done, you would at least all the questions you have, all the imaginations you have, and well, it will be cleared hopefully by KKD himself. Hi KKD, thanks so much for giving us this opportunity.
Thank you.
People think that your brand is seriously dented. Do you believe so?
Why?
Well, for what the allegation has been, the rape case, they feel that
people alleged that Jesus was so many things. Now, if people could allege that the Savior was so many things, you can make up your mind. Some people hoped that I would die. Some people hoped that I would fail 30 years ago. Do I have to go to their homes to change their minds? Some people never believed the story from the very onset.
Like myself, I never.
And my point is, I am thankful. That's why I'm calling this a Thanksgiving. I'm thankful that Irefe is alive and well. I am alive and well. My blood pressure is now coming down. I nearly died 2 days to the last day in court. And my focus is to be well and happy and thankful.
Very, very.
I cannot go into the homes of those who think I am the worst thing that happened or the best thing since sliced bread. I can only live my life. And you know what? Those who hate you will believe the worst about you. Those who love you will believe the best about you. And this is for all of us as Ghanaians. Your commentary, Dodo. Your price, your bonnie, Jumas, your commentary, no door, Dodo.
But you see, Attorney General says she will be calling the case again.
She didn't say. Like she didn't. You see, let's be fair to Mrs. Apiopong. You know, I have a lot of respect for her. She has an office to run. Somebody brings a case. The case is a criminal case, and therefore it has state interest. Now, whether the person is willing to be a witness or not is not my business. But let's assume that somebody says, this man stole my fish. And the person says, oh, actually, he didn't steal my fish. Or the person says, well, I said so, but I'm not willing to help you go ahead with that case. That is not my business either. Now, I don't know if when normally people give a noli prosequi, they have to explain why they give a noli prosequi. But that is also not my business. My business is to live my life.
And live a good life.
No, my life. You know, as for good, you know, it's all in your mind. Nothing is good or bad. It's your thinking that makes it so.
You've been advised today to rechannel your talents to the house of God. What are we saying?
I was told that 30 years ago. Dang. But I'm thankful to my dear friends, Cardinal Leslie Boabasa, and my pastor, Dr. Lawrence Tete. You know who your friends are when you are either, you know, in really bad times or in exceedingly good times. Because in exceedingly good times, things can be dangerous too. And I'm thankful to the many who have thrown in their advice. You know, we are someone will be a tool for. Metia will be nearby and say, Mishia will be a me penasem. I'll not so pemasem. Nia ina will be a unhuno. Obi kodane no kokani opesoka. Eno na enya masem. Sisia na media sida and emenyame. Now, if you think everybody likes beer or everybody likes Guinness or everybody likes Fanta, you must have your head examined. Why then do you think everybody must like me? My mother loves me. My father loves me. My children love me. My friends love me. But most importantly, God loves me.
Well, he described it as a fleeting pleasure of the flesh. Well, today he's received all the advice to convert his brilliant talent to serving God in his house. KKD says that he is going to make sure that God would use him to reach out to his generation, the younger generation, to make sure that they impact positively on society. From the Christ Foundation Family Church in Sacramento, Gladys Osei-Orejo reporting for Joy News.
Now, Joy News is learning of a crucial steering committee meeting underway at the NPP headquarters, with reports that the national chairman and the general secretary have both been sidelined in what is being seen as a further demonstration of the deep divisions in the party. Evans Mensah of our Paulette Scott joins me with more on this. So, Evans, what can you tell us about this latest development?
Well, it's one that, as you rightly said, it just points to the further divisions in the party as far as the helm is concerned. This particular steering committee meeting normally is supposed to be called and chaired by the national chairman, backed strongly by the general secretary. My understanding is that for the past 2 months, they have not called the steering committee meeting. Why they haven't called it, nobody knows. But it's not been something that the rest of the leadership have been happy with. And for which reason I understand that even Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo, the party's flag bearer for next year's election, had to make several calls to try and find out why the meetings were not being called. Now, this meeting is, these steering committee meetings are important because it's a consultative platform through which the party runs its day-to-day affairs, without which decisions are likely to be taken by individuals and likely to be challenged. We saw that last year when the party executive took some decisions to let some appointed executives like the deputy communications director, etc., go. And that became a hugely contested decision. And a petition was sent saying that that decision could have only been taken by the steering committee. And because it wasn't taken by the steering committee, then it's null and void. Eventually, they had to backtrack because indeed the steering committee had to take that decision. That is why they are refused. The decision not to call it it's become such a big deal. Now, this one that is currently being held has been called by the vice chairman of the party in the absence of the chairman and the general secretary. I understand, and we need to check this, that the chairman is not within the country, but the general secretary is. And understand he has refused to go to the steering committee meeting because he believes, well, they have to call it, so who else should call it, you know? And so people are seeing this as a usurpation of their powers by the vice chairman of the party, Freddie Blay. And so the meeting is underway. They're discussing among party things, especially because of the parliamentary primaries are coming up. And it's going to be very interesting going forward how this plays out. Freddie Blay and co have in the past, you know, publicly complained about the lack of these meetings, which leads to a certain imposition of people's decisions on the party. And that's why this meeting is being watched very closely. How come the meeting was called in the absence of the national chairman and the general secretary, who is the president, says he's not going to go? But
does the constitution in any way give the first vice chairman that authority in the absence of, say, the chairman and the general secretary of the party?
I understand so. I understand that when the vice chairman isn't there, automatically the when the national chairman isn't there, automatically the vice chairman should take the helm of affairs. But it's exactly what is happening because the general secretary is in the country. And he says he's not going to go. It seemed more as this bad blood between the chairman and the general secretary and the rest of the executives. So that is how this is seen, and this is going to play out throughout the day. People were even calling it a coup, an internal party coup, etc. I mean, we'll be jumping ahead of ourselves if we call it that yet, because we need to watch how this unfolds throughout the day, and I'm pretty sure statements will come out trying to clarify the situation in the NPP.
Okay, thank you very much, Evans Mensah. We'll be keeping our tabs on that and bringing you up to speed on any development whatsoever. That'll be it. 4 days out before we go, a quick recap of our top stories this hour. UNICOF dismisses policy think tank Imani's suggestions that workers of Agricultural Development Bank, the ADB, have been harboring fears of retrenchment amid brewing controversies about the bank. Akosombo Dam has dropped to its safest operating level, causing fears of a possible shutdown. Now, senior staff union of the Tema Oil Refinery have blamed government's failure to revive the state-owned refinery for the Bost PDC's fracas. Well, in business, you heard that the economic hardships is compelling unemployed youth to resort to betting for survival. Well, that'll be it for this hour. My name is Kwabna Chenchen. For more news, do well to log on to myjonline.com. Have a good afternoon.